traditional hash from Morocco coming to the U.S. or
Yes.
Lebanon or
Oh,
Afghanistan.
man.
I
Yeah.
hope that American strains will be transported to Holland and Dutch strains will be transported back. I hope for an open, totally free market that everybody can enter. That who want to enter, the people that do their best will make the best product. That will be the winners. That like in every market.
And you get an opportunity. That's it.
And
You go.
also screw the regulations. I think it should be like tomatoes. I mean, nobody has to ask for permission to grow tomatoes. Why is that with cannabis? Cannabis is a harmless product. It's a great medicine. It makes people happy. So for me, I hope to see in the future, and I think we're going there. We're already seeing Thailand opening up. I already sell lights to Thailand. I will go there.
Spain.
Germany, Spain. Germany's just opening up with
Brazil, right?
Brazil is South America. Chile, and like there are so many different places. I've been to South Africa and Swaziland.
Swaziland?
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah, I've been there.
I got a friend that's over there. He was the first. He was on our actually first show. Oh man, Mark! Shout out Mark, Cali Cannabis. They are out there in South Africa, Swaziland, and he was one of my first friends in the industry. But the first person that I knew going international, because his origins are from there. His family's there.
It's great if you go take a holiday to those places. If you love cannabis, it's great. Just take a holiday to those places. I remember going in a 4x4 old Jeep way into the mountains and then visiting farms and seeing what they do and how they grow and they have. I remember in Swaziland it was like all sativas, these long full 9 months that are flowering for 9 months. Like it was the most insane thing I ever done in my life. Before one of the things I want to do, I want to go to Morocco, and I already been to a lot of places with cannabis, but I want to go to see it all, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's what I love, it's what Mo loves, and actually, but like I said, opening those borders. Let international trade flow on cannabis products. That will be the next big step. It would make such a change in the world. And also within the U.S. Let's get that federal legalization going. Let's open up those borders also between the states. They get away from all those regulations because they're just trying to make it difficult. I never seen a tomato farmer that has to registrate every tomato plants in metric. What is that kind of like? That is.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
And it's legal to grow tomatoes in your back garden. It should be same with cannabis. And it's not everybody's afraid, if everybody grows cannabis, then there is no market anymore. Well, not everybody brews beer also. Or makes wine, or so. I'm not afraid. Sure, there will be people that love to grow indoors, but people like to be easy. They want to be. I want to go to a dispensary and buy a vape pen, and just don't bother with it.
Yeah,
and that's okay. And that's the free market that we need. And I hope we get there within a decade.
Oh, I like that. I can see. I mean, it's been changing, and you got way more states involved now. I mean, I believe it's over 38, 35. What are we?
So where's federal legalization?
36.
36,
right
I think,
there.
there. That's has a medical or some form of a cannabis market, and so it's the innovation. I feel like it's, for me personally, I equate it to. What do we call it? The prohibition stage is what I like to say. People don't know it took 15 years for alcohol. It was a prohibition before it was just normalized, and that's what it is, right? So I feel like, and now you have all those regulations. Alcohol.
It's even horrible. You have everybody with a cannabis company knows you can't write off your costs of your company.
Truth.
They force pretty much
so much.
They force your company to pretty much make no money. So there's no money. Everybody who thinks you're going to be a millionaire with like selling cannabis, There are a couple of great success stories, but it's not as easy as you think.
No. No, not in this
because of the
industry.
crazy regulations. If you could operate like a normal company in the U.S.,
Oh, there'll be so many successful companies.
yeah, there were so
moving
many
out there.
successful companies,
So
but
many.
they keep this industry down on purpose, and they will take as much money from it as possible. That's
as
also
long
why
as
they like it
possible.
for as long as possible. And it is all for us to fight against that kind of oppression,
Yeah.
to see where this needs to go, and to understand that we still need to lobby
Yeah.
and to invest in activism, because we're there yet. We made a great step.
Definitely. Listen, that goes to shout out little back to Aaron, who was on our last episode with the NCIA, the National Cannabis Industry Association. They are lobbyists. They're in Washington. They're doing all types of different things. Guys, that's how you have to do it, just like you mentioned. You have to get out there in front of people, let them know, but also what you're doing here, supporting and getting it into the industry and allowing those people to sustain and be a voice as well. And so, man, guys, you're killing it. That's all I have to say. You're killing it.
For anybody out there who wants to take a look at our products, come to www.dli.nl. Go take a look at our website. We do a great blog, and there's lots of information to find. I think you got
New Millennium, nutrans.com. Our distributor on all the products in North America, it's called 58, PHIVE 8.com. That's where you could get our products. We have great guys on the road, educating and getting our products out there.
Listen, guys, you heard it first right there. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you
Sure,
for
thanks
coming
for
to
having us.
Oklahoma. Thank you for educating us on the beginning. What I would love to do is what we normally do is ask for a follow-up in a couple of months. See where you guys are.
Well, we're coming. We're traveling the entire U.S.
Yes.
At a certain moment, we will loop back to this place. Maybe in a couple of months, maybe a little bit longer.
Yep.
But it will happen, and we would love to come by.
I love that.
to.
And if there's a possibility, maybe I get this passport, come out and see your facility,
Ooh.
bring my team, do
Come
some
to
tours.
Am- come to
Can we
Amsterdam.
do this? Can we do that? Yes.
Colorado and
Yes.
Amsterdam, both
Guys,
beautiful places.
listen, I'm taking the MCM crew. We got the production team. We're going to be bringing cannabis in a whole nother light. Yes, you're seeing it here. We're going to go live to you guys out there, and we're going to go show these different companies in another light. Guys, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you,
I'm so
Oklahoma.
excited about it. MCM every Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here on our own channel, our own platform, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the platforms, Twitch, Roku, everything. Follow us, like us, subscribe us. Look in the comments. Definitely leave your comments down there. And if you have anything you want to see in the future, let us know. Gentlemen, again, thank you for being here.
you.
MCM, I'm Perry Jones III, and we're out of here. Petty Fox, can you take us home?
We edit the show and we put in all your information.
And that rolls up another episode of MCM Medical Cannabis Marketplace Live, brought to you every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock here on your local social media platform. Tune in next week for another great show. And on behalf of everybody at Medical Cannabis Marketplace Live, want to tell you to have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday night at 7.
Are you ready to grow your cannabis business? Advertise with Medical Cannabis Marketplace today. We have title sponsorships, 30-second ads, and full production packages. We make branded content, product demos and reviews, and much, much more. Whether you're a grower, processor, or dispensary owner, or are vertically integrated, we can help you. Advertise your cannabis event. Whether you're a glass blower, smoke shop, need product images and video, or are an ancillary service provider, tax professional, transportation specialist, grow supplier, bud trimmer, security services. Whether you sell flour, concentrates, edibles, packaging, CBD products, and much, much more, we can help you advertise your business on Medical Cannabis Marketplace. Contact us today. Are you ready to grow your cannabis business? Advertise with Medical Cannabis Marketplace today. We have title sponsorships, 30-second ads, and full production packages. We make branded content, product demos and reviews, and much, much more. Whether you're a grower, processor, or dispensary owner, or are vertically integrated, we can help you. Advertise your cannabis event. Whether you're a glass blower, smoke shop, need product images and video, or are an ancillary service provider, tax professional, transportation specialist, grow suppliers, bud trimmer, security services, whether you sell flour, concentrates, edibles, packaging, CBD products, and much, much more, we can help you advertise your business on Medical Cannabis Marketplace. Contact us today.
Yes, listen, here we are, folks. Perry Jones III, and you know it. Number 16. Let me throw that number at you. This is the Sweet 16, because let me tell you, we've got some sweet guests on tonight. You know how we do it. We own this show. We appreciate you guys coming to Medical Cannabis Marketplace every Wednesday, 7 p.m., right here live on all platforms, all channels. Look at these gentlemen. Can you zoom out? Look at these pretty guys right here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and get right into this, because I'm excited about what these gentlemen bring. You guys know we bring that fire. We bring great content, great people, great businesses with great products to impact the Oklahoma market and others out there. Guys, come on, tell them who you are.
Yes, my name's Bo Spiker. We own a company called New Millennium Nutrients based out of Colorado. Hydroponic nutrient. We do some big ag blends as well. And we're happy to be here, Per.
You hear that, guys, right there from Colorado. We got them here, you know.
Denver, Colorado.
I love the mountains, so I love the mountains. Come on.
Hello, my name is Jair Villeman, and I'm from Dutch Lighting Innovations, and we're a Holland-based company, and we're very happy to be here in Oklahoma. Very exciting.
Guys, just got the chills right here. You know why? Because it shows that we're expanding, and this is great because they're coming into our state. And so, guys, let's go in and let's give a little background about who you guys are, because what's beautiful is these gentlemen knew each other and know each other for a long time. And so to have them individually on the show tonight, and then they go, oh, well, we know each other. You know, it's just synergy, and we bring that good energy. That's what I like to call that. So, guys, can we get a little background, Bo? Would you tell me a little bit about, like, how you got started, when that started?
1999, we opened a hydroponic store in Denver, Colorado, the second one in Colorado.
Okay.
You know, ran across multiple people, good connections, ended up in Holland, bringing in some lights, some other products. Started a chemical company 14 years ago, and it's been a dream. Wow. Every day.
Every day you're growing.
Yeah.
Every day I'm growing. Well, I don't know if that's we're going to make it a song. I think we can do that.
Nice.
Wow. And so how'd you go to Holland? Like, did you just researching
and trying to research and bring in products? You know, Holland had a Dutch culture of, you know, great cannabis growers, right? That's where every seed that any of us grow today, really the backbones to who put it on the map at the beginning. So obviously was the place we needed to be, getting over there, getting some seeds and running across some great people.
Come on now and tell me about that, because Obviously, I mean, that's a hierarchy, and it is true. Great cannabis origins coming from there. I would say the base of what a lot of the things that we're liking these days, if you're an old head. Tell me about coming from Holland a little bit back.
Wow. I'm an Amsterdam local. I'm born in Amsterdam. I think my first grow was when I was 16. Was in the basement of my mother, and I pretty much in cannabis for the last 35 years. I've done some wild things in this industry. I started a little company, a long time ago called Cavita. We ended up being the largest horticultural lighting company in the world.
Just a moment. Listen, you see it, guys. Here we are. Woo! I love it. Happy midweek, guys. Here we are at another episode, the 19th episode of Medical Cannabis Marketplace. Yes, it's the first month of June. It's the first week of June. This is really crazy. And Petty Fox, shout out Petty Fox. Thank you for opening up the show with that batness as usual. You can catch him tonight as his open mic, I believe. No, it's not open mic. It's his residency. Yep. Excuse me. He's the start of his residency at the Colony in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So if you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, every Wednesdays for the month of June, you can catch Petty Fox in there jamming, getting it in. So you want to learn more, see more, go and see him in the Colony, 26th and Harvard. Shout out to our main host, mate. Good job, brother. Dr. Sims.
What up?
Happy day, brother. How you doing?
I'm here.
That is true. Midweek, we are here. Forgive me, folks. As you've noticed, I've got more of the scruff happening. I did get this little shiner. We're working on some things. I'm going to take care of myself. This is going to get cleaned up next week. I promise you that. Happy Men's Month. That's what I have to start this show off with. June is known as Men's Month. And so all the men out there, all the women out there, because that's women, right?
Okay.
No, that's not. I mean, it's Men's Month, though, but it's men. So shout out to all the men out there. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourself. Health is wealth. That's really what we believe in. So, I mean, you could go and see your PCP, primary care physician. That's what that means. If you don't have one of those, you know who could be your PCP? His name is Dr. Jason Sims at thc2.com. Check it out. Guys, I'm not going to give any more, little puns, but that's a good one right there. Definitely do that, guys. We want to make sure you know about that. Doc, about men's health, what does men's health really entail, right? Because when you hear that saying women's health, men's health, pediatric health, geriatric health, right? All of these different genres of health, with it being Men's Month, what does that mean for men who are becoming men, have been men? Health is starting to happen. Can you give us some insights on that?
It's just more, kind of focusing on things that happen to the male species.
Okay.
So basically, to males, and we're pretty easy. I mean, we're pretty basic, truthfully,
Very much
for the
so.
most part. Women are much more complicated, medically wise.
Shout out, we love you, women. We love you.
But for guys, we're talking early on. Guys,
Okay.
so starting, in the 16, 17, 18, we're, talking about testicular cancer. We're talking about some things like that. How to screen, how to test for that, how to watch for that.
Okay.
Then we kind of get up a little bit later into the 40s, 50s. We start talking about testosterone.
Yes.
We start talking about erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
We start talking about different labs and stuff
Okay.
that we might be low on. And that's pretty much it. You start getting the older ages, and you're still talking testosterone. You're still talking
Testosterone's a big one.
Making sure all your enzymes are correct, all your your thyroid's okay. Everything's working like it's supposed to.
Does thyroids affect a lot of men? I hear that with a lot of women, but I never really heard about men. Is that a major?
It's more common in women.
Okay.
Hypothyroidism is more common in women, definitely, but it's in men too. So there's a whole bunch of different reasons.
You can
for
get
it.
that.
So, yeah.
Okay,
But it
so
can
then
definitely happen.
what about when you made mention of testosterone, right? For those that have been out of school for a while, you're not really around others, you're not working out and doing things. Can you explain what testosterone is and how that affects men as they become an age?
So I mean, testosterone is what makes us men. Okay.
Okay.
That's what makes us male. Is testosterone when it's released at a certain time in the, whenever we're little fetuses.
Okay.
The testosterone
Babies.
release actually what makes us, because we're all female whenever we first come out.
Okay.
Not come out, but when we first
When you're
are
first formed?
conceived.
Okay.
And then testosterone is actually what forms the testes, forms the male genitalia.
First
so it
off,
gives us facial hair.
like
it
I
gives us
said,
those
we're out
things.
of school, and I
so-
forgot about that.
Yeah.
So that's unique.
So-
Okay.
And then testosterone, of course, comes and then peaks again
Mm-hmm.
at puberty. To start getting the facial hair, start getting the deep voice, start the Adam's apple increases, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then later on, testosterone decreases. So because we don't really need it as much, and so and
just
then so we start
decreases.
having low libido, and we start getting sluggish, and we start not sleeping well, and not having good energy, and we kind of lose some body weight. Or
Okay.
not body weight, body mass. So we start losing our muscle mass.
Okay.
Gaining some body weight. Losing some muscle
Ooh.
mass.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's really important, especially whenever especially if you just all of a sudden or you can kind of gradually just start feeling tired, just
Yeah.
run down and just not like you used to feel, and not able to do the stuff you were, and not able to be with the person you're with, like you were before, and so it needs to be checked.
Okay.
Testosterone definitely needs to be checked.
Can
so
it
we
go
check
in different time
see what it
frames? You
is.
did make mention of being like a teenager. There's that peak. Then we go into the 40s. That's a 20-year age gap there, and then 40 to 50s, and then you get older. Obviously, is there unusual times that testosterone is outside of that window? Does it happen for young men that are
it
20,
can.
30s? Is okay? It can happen.
It can. It's not.
Okay.
It's not as common.
It's not as common.
Of course,
Okay.
because as we age, testosterone kind of generally decreases.
Okay, so what are things that men can do to increase? And should you, as a young man, be like over increasing your testosterone?
Definitely don't want to. 'cause
Okay,
then you can
okay,
have some other
okay.
things kind of go on.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't want to overdo it on testosterone. Makes you feel great.
Okay.
But you don't want to overdo it because it can cause some other problems.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, really, just maintaining a healthy diet. Drinking plenty of fluids, staying hydrated. Eating a balanced diet.
Balanced diets,
Doing
okay.
exercise. That kind of stuff kind of keeps it on an even keel.
Okay.
And then once we get a little older and we are starting to lose it, we can replace it. There's a couple different ways we can replace it.
Testosterone replacement.
Yep, exactly. So
Okay.
there's some plant varieties out there you can get like GNC and stuff like that. They kind of work a little bit maybe.
Is there
for
stuff
some
that you
people.
can go to
And
a
then-
doctor and get?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So you can go. We can replace it with shots. We can do injectables, and then we can also do gels. You got to be careful with the gels though, because if you get on your clothes and somebody else is doing your laundry, they can get that testosterone from that.
Ooh,
so yeah, so
transfer.
Exactly. So it can transfer. The gel can. So you got to be careful with the gel.
Wow.
And there's some patches, stuff like that as well.
Slow release
out there.
patches?
So yeah.
Okay.
So
What about the needle? You just named 3 different type of ways for men out there. Some may be scared of needles. Some may have allergic reactions to gel, right? Because is the gel,
any type of
it's a
topical, you
topical,
can have
right? You don't
you
know
have
what
a
the
local
ingredients
reaction.
are. And then same as a patch too, because maybe the adhesive, like George Costanza, that was probably a bad example, was one of my favorite examples about adhesive and having too much of it, right? Those that know, that's funny inside. Okay, so the effectiveness of each one of those 3 ways, right? Is there one that's more effective than the other?
I've seen good results with all of them, but truthfully, I think the most effective is going to be the injectables.
Injectables,
So you do
okay.
that every 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. It lasts 2 to 3 weeks. And now, does it have to be a buildup, or will the first shot automatically put you in, and now you're keeping up?
It puts you up there, then you got to kind of routinely test.
Okay.
Test your testosterone after that to see making sure you're getting enough, or if you're getting too much. So you might have to increase it or decrease it.
And how long would you say a gentleman would have this process go before it is Is there a measure that this would become replaced, or is it a constant replacement?
It's a treatment.
It's a treatment,
it's a
so
constant
ongoing
replacement.
treatment.
Ongoing, exactly.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
it's
okay,
ongoing.
okay.
Yep.
So for gentlemen out there, because I always kind of wondered this myself, even being in the doctor's office, there was times where you're not around enough men that educate you on being a man, right, and going through those phases of manhood. And so for those that have not enough men around or people around to ask those types of questions, having a doctor is also that great way to do that. Link in the comment, put a comment, like, thumb, subscribe, do all of those fancy things you kids like to do with all the different places you're watching this video. But also you could email Doc, and you can also email the clinic, www.thc2.com, and you can ask Doc questions. So we have on the website where literally you can text message or you can email any of these questions you gentlemen may have out there. But understanding the process that it happens to every man. Like, it doesn't matter whether it happens to you in your 20s, your 30s, you're going to have peaks doing it, 40s, 50s, 60s. So preventative maintenance, right? Like, that's something that I'm really into. And I actually think I'm going to look more into it because the shot, working out, being as active as I once was, I'm not, right? I think that happens with all of us over age. You start to just adapt to what your life has you. That's something that you need to follow up on. So men out there, bad diets, let me tell you, that fast food shit, stop that stuff. What you got over there? What? Pizza? All right. Pizza's all right. All right. Like, pizza's all right. That Taco Bell, shout out Taco Bell. Sorry, I just gave you promotion. That's probably not good to do. Maybe they'll bleep that like they do music. They'll be like, what? He said beep. And I don't know. Just thinking in the future. But good diet, meaning greens. Like, that's another thing, Doc. Are these kind of, when we start talking about diets and having a balanced diet, like, nobody has enough water in their system. Exactly, yeah. Nobody's really getting enough nutrients. These greens that you can get, like GNC and Whole Foods and places that say they have the supplement of it, can you do that? Can those greens work as a good supplement?
They help make you feel better. I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely do, because you're getting more vitamins, more minerals, and stuff from them.
Okay.
Just the biggest problem is just our food supply. Our food supply is made for the masses. It's not grown down the street anymore. It's grown at a huge, large, corporate farm, and so you're losing a lot of the nutrients out of it because of having to take it off early, then treat it with chemicals, treat it with pesticides, then be able to have it shipped to you. Then you get it, and then you cook it. So instead of you going out to the yard and picking it up and
in your natural
it,
state,
so you're definitely not getting the same amount of nutrients, the same amount of other things. And probiotics are one of the big ones, truthfully, on it, because you grow your stuff at home and you're getting the dirt and the stuff from that, and that's
the good stuff
for your gut health. So,
man, listen. This is why I love what we do. Remember, we bring that fire, and when I say that fire, not only the information and education from different standpoints and personal views, professional as well. Dr. Jason Sims dropping that knowledge on men's health on Men's Month starting in June, and that's what we're talking about. Guys, this guest that we have on tonight, let me tell you, he is an innovator. He is a pioneer. And it's unique when you put those types of terms on what people have accomplished. This man has been one of the first engineers, one of the first innovators on the closed loop system that helps to create concentrates. And so when this started about 2010, 2009, maybe a little earlier, he was one of the first ones in the waves that helped to create a system that has now become very popular, and he's doing a lot of different things, not only just there, but also in the Oklahoma market. Jason with Giddy Up coming up next, guys. I'm telling you, you're going to check this interview out, and it was one of the most interesting talks that I've had with another like-minded individual, but really someone making waves and has been in the world market, traveling from international, Holland, Spain, being in all kinds of markets in the U.S., from Michigan, California, Washington, and now Oklahoma, also New Jersey, and I believe Missouri as well. He's moving and shaking. I can't wait for you guys to hear this interview and check it out. Let's actually go right into it, guys. Check this thing out. Hey, folks, man, listen, I've got Jason here with Giddy Up, and I'm telling you, this conversation is going to be bananas. Stay tuned. You're going to want to see this.
My name is Jason Giddy Up Emo. Everybody calls me Giddy. I've been in the cannabis industry professionally, commercially, since 2010.
All right.
I've, predominantly known for my work in the field of cannabis extraction. I'm
Okay.
the owner at Emotech Labs. We made the first state accepted hydrocarbon extractor. We really advanced a lot of, hydrocarbon extracts forwards, like with our live resin recipe that I was a part of the creation of me and Kind Bill. I do a lot of work with regulators, and I do a lot of consulting on production and grow and retail. I've done just about every job and know enough to be dangerous at every one, but the growing and manufacturing is where I've done some things that were industry first, and
Okay.
people throw like pioneering around a lot, but I guess that's
You don't want to take that term? You don't like that term? I like that.
I just feel awkward saying the things that other people say about me about myself. It just never sounds right coming out. But I mean, to be fair, there's several, a lot of articles, a lot of interviews, a lot of stuff, and that's kind of what I'm accredited with is furthering concentrate culture and bringing concentrate culture to the masses. And me and a bunch of people just like me early on did this when there wasn't very many people doing it at all. And now it's commonplace. It's like, milk and eggs, like it's in the fridge. I've been doing this for so long. Like I watched the industry kind of form around where we were working at. I remember and having the numbers on like our retail sales when they were 75% flour and 25% manufactured product, be it hash or vape pens or edibles, lotions, anything like that. And I watched that grow to where they were 50% of products sold equal to flour. And and that happened over the course of about 5 or 6 years, which is actually a phenomenal feat, right? And nowadays, I haven't looked recently, but I would imagine that retail locations do not make the majority of their money off of flower sales. They make them off of some sort of refined cannabis product. Yeah.
It's unique now when we think about the market. And like you said, you've been in there for over 10 years and watching different states, different markets take heed of different speeds of processes and products. To go back, because you 2010, but you're right. I think that's right when concentrates started to really take heed around the country, and those that knew were getting the first wave of, yo, this is coming out. And it started with, for me, the nectar collector. We were just talking about this, and that's a torch and a nectar collector, and you're just burning through and just going hard. And so, like, I remember the first wave of them, and now knowing the different types of concentrates that they have, right? Just even the different types of edibles, from nano emulsification to, your BHO, your CO2, all the different processes that are being used to create these different things. I mean, diamonds, popular for a while. Everybody wanted the sauce. Everybody was about that life. I don't hear diamonds are not forever is what that is, right?
Well, it's funny because if you're as close to it as I've been, and one of the cool things that I've been exposed to is I've gotten to work all over the country. Got to work in different countries, and the cannabis culture, from what's on the menu to preferred way of smoking, all that stuff, it always varies a little bit everywhere you go, and it's always changing, right? Like diamonds, everybody wouldn't shut up. Diamonds, fucking diamonds, woo, diamonds. And then people are like, you got any batter? Like, where's the batter at? You're like, oh, you want the batter from 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like
Can you
that's
bring
what we
that
want
back?
now. You'll see it cycle through, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's great. Far too often do we find in this industry and in the cannabis community, just the sheer unadulterated ego that exists with people's product. And like I always say, if I had a nickel for every time I met the best grower in the world, I wouldn't have to work in the weed industry to survive. I could just live off of that. Yeah, I think as more people get exposed to this and they start to, I don't know, like I said, lift the rocks and see what's out there on this, they'd be, they'd just be surprised and amazed. And it's not slowing down. There's new stuff showing up all the time. There's old stuff coming back. That's what keeps the culture in this alive. Like that's the heartbeat of all of it, right? That's what inspires the culture. It inspires somebody to make a nectar collector or to make an extraction machine or to make a type of rig to smoke out of or to breed certain genetics for a certain purpose, right? That's the essence of what makes this community a community. And I think that's why it's important to accent that in a day where Chads and Brads are showing up, 10-1.
Yeah.
Where where the biggest weed guy on the block is, somebody that used to arrest people for weed but had access to raise investment money. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna keep you in my pocket. Yeah.
That's how fast this all can get out. That's how fast all this can get out of line. So my big thing these days is always reminding people to, support with your dollar, like look for ethically sourced cannabis, cannabis that has legacy, legacy cannabis people pushing it, and not fall in line to the big machine that is corporate cannabis, because that's how you end up with Walmart selling it, and then all this is snuffed out. Once it gets there, all this innovation and all this excitement really disappears because there's no way to make a living in it anymore.
Yeah. I feel like, and I agree with that. I think that breaking the stigma with cannabis in general allows those to understand that freedom that you're taking with it. And that right here is what this community is about. And it's bigger than what we think. You know what I mean? Like, again, go ahead.
I was just going to say too that like the cannabis industry employs more people than the coal industry. The United States buys more cannabis than they do chocolate or they do ice cream.
Yeah. Gosh, that's huge.
Like that's we are an industry. And if we don't pay attention and we further the bad actors in our industry and we let people get away without going unchecked, it's going to be delivered right into the hands of the elite.
With, so many, half the states now, 37 states, I believe, with the form and a product or a program to introduce with medicinal cannabis, and then the others. What are your thoughts on what the state of the industry is going to do here in the next, say, 5 years?
Well, I think the next 5 years, the main shift in the industry that you'll see is the focus on convenience. I think when you look at the actual amount of sales that come back from things like vape pens and pre-rolls and things that are ready to go fastest now, how many dispensaries that I see in these more liberal markets of like drive-throughs, cannabis events, things like that. Just convenience and accessibility is how people are going to try and make up this difference between the price of weed falling down and when what we can say is the slow decline in support for recreational cannabis in existing medical marijuana states. So I don't really give a shit if you don't have medical marijuana and you're talking about voting for recreational. Nobody's gonna nobody at the legislative level is gonna let you jump right to recreational with no semblance of a medical marijuana policy to essentially test the waters. Right. And in these places where we're seeing medical marijuana pass and we're seeing less rules and less enforcement and oversight, we see rising crime, we see problems, and we see a decline in the support for recreational. I think that in itself is probably one of the biggest threats to the industry over the next 5 years, because a failing marijuana program in a state, the federal government is more likely to act on that, as far as, we'll make the rules for this and y'all ain't doing it right, and y'all will listen to what the fuck we say, without any real insight from actual industry insiders, right? Only lobbyists to make those rules. And that could be like the final nail in the coffin for not just mom and pop dispensaries, but larger national brands that don't think they are mom and pop, but are compared to pharmaceutical companies.
Truth.
Right. So,
man, that was a great insight right there. I was thinking in the same way, but the way you presented it makes all the sense, because it's absolutely right when you're thinking of the markets that are becoming online, right? And so some have had established medical markets, and their medical markets aren't doing anything. So of course nothing's going to move forward, but then the states around them are enacting and changing things. But legislation in general, most of them have already been the good old boy. They've been there. They're not, I mean, like, it's not, you're not getting most new people coming in,
right,
raising the tide, changing things in that state per se.
Right. And once you get medical, you lose a lot of that momentum, because believe it or not, there's some people that's all they want.
Literally.
Like they're cool with that. That's enough. Like, you can get your weed now. You don't get any further support on the issue. Like,
yeah, I believe in that too. Well, all right. So then, because that's a great, interesting way of thinking about the market, because you're really thinking in a whole market, not just in a small regional market or state market. And that's what's going to affect us as an industry overall. We're seeing what happened in other countries and the way the rest of the world is acting with cannabis. And I feel like America, we're the leaders in the world, right? I mean, obviously, University of Israel, main studies for the world, but when you come into all the studies that could be put together in America and brought out there, it's a whole nother game.
And let's just give them what they want. Let's talk about the money, bro.
Oh, yes.
Jamaica can sell its cannabis in Canada. Like, there are countries out there that are doing trade, that are allowing this product to go back and forth. Why are we not leading that?
Yes.
Why are we
having it as an export?
Right. Why are we not going? Because I'll tell you this, I've done international cannabis work. You know what a lot of countries want?
What?
They want cannabis business transactions. They don't want the grow. They don't want the oversight. They just want somebody to be able to buy it and go, it's legal here, but you can't grow it. You can't start a business about it, because we don't want to oversee that. We don't want to deal with it.
Which is the import-export, like you're saying. If you were able to import-export it just like anything else, you use it as a cash crop like we've done anything else, then we're able to go in and tax that, transport that, and be able to control it. That is a great thought right there. I didn't think of it on that level, where we could be the growers for the world.
Why aren't we? Like, what do we lose? What do we lose? We already have every problem that exists with us growing. We already have every cost affiliated with us growing, because, like you said, 37 states now allow it in some form.
Truth.
And there's no bigger market outside our country. Like, we're in charge at the UN. We can get the Dangerous Drug Act amended and changed to where cannabis doesn't fall under that. We could do all these things. And we could make, like, you look at each one of our states right now, billions of dollars in fucking cannabis. Oh, it's there. And they did $850 million each state. Yeah. This is $1 trillion a year industry. And once the guys at Big Pharma and the guys in corporate America all realize that, believe you me, they're going to take it away from them.
Oh yeah.
We don't get to keep that.
Yeah, we're not. Mom and Pop is not going to be able to touch that. No, and thinking regionally or statewide. I you know what I really enjoy, and I like topping on that, tagging on what you just mentioned there, was how you mentioned the state or the country doing the international trading, but brands, right? Like we're seeing brands emerging and people being able to recreate new things. Well, let me rephrase that. Create new things because it's no longer the standard automobile, soda, pop, and the beer industry. Like it's brands being brought out, and there's a numerous brands from the grows, from the processing, from just branding itself, manufacturers. I think that tide right there, that wave is so huge. And you just helped me to see something in a whole nother light. If we were to do be the leaders in branding like we already are in music and clothing and all of this other stuff, like why not lead the world in cannabis? Oh, I got this out of Oklahoma. I got this out of Cali. This is Colorado. This is New Hampshire. Like, I mean, to just be able to isolate that state and give that state credit for whatever, rather than just oil, rather than just natural gas or beef or the weather.
There's so many products that are billion-dollar year industries that are like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't
Yeah.
think of them all off the top of my head, but people want Texas fucking beef. People want Georgia peaches. People
Yep.
want Florida oranges. Like,
Yep.
and now you open this up to everything else. It's not like 75%, the American population hasn't smoked weed before. We know what the deal is. There's no hidden animal that's going to sneak out and get you from weed. We know what's up. You don't have to conduct a bunch of studies on it for 30 years, like to know that it's just weed. Like
it's here.
It's
And
here.
it's been here. Like you're not changing anything other than farming. And when it becomes where you could put it with the ag department, now you're talking a whole nother game. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like exactly like you're saying, like it's been around for thousands of years in every culture, been smoked on from forever.
Yeah.
Right. But in the last 100 years, we said you can't smoke it. And they're like, well, we're gonna smoke it. And they're like, well, wait, we gotta see if it's safe. Well, motherfucker was smoking it for thousands of years.
Like, we're doing testing now.
We gotta see, we gotta ease into it. Like, no, you don't. Like, you just told us to quit. Like, they was smoking it when they founded the country. Like, what are y'all talking about? It's all money, right? It's
love that.
And it's so cliche. As cliche as it is to say, until the people that make their money off of the prison industrial complex, the textile industrial complex,
huge,
like until all of these other ones that cannabis affects, that hemp affects, you're not going to get the wealth of the world to budge on their stance on weed.
Well, and even with you saying that, like, because now we switch over into that. Well, this is my bread and butter. I love cannabis in all fashions, right? But when you just talked on the hemp, we're in a whole nother sector of cannabis that is like barely touched, right? Even though we have the Farm Bill Act, 2018 really helped expand the furthering of hemp through the country. And now the new Farm Bill Act that'll come out will help to enhance it a little bit more. But we've still got a plethora of states that don't even understand it, let alone aren't fully taking heed of how that can impact
not utilizing it.
Definitely not fully utilizing it. No,
there are no hempcrete factories. There's no big hemp paper facility.
No,
there's all of the things it can be used for. But like you can't build an industry without destroying 4 of them.
Yeah,
right?
So that's
anything. So people see that as a transition of wealth that they don't need to support, and that's why you won't get these big textile companies investing in that on a large scale, because they've already invested in something large scale.
Truth.
You know what I mean? And if they're not done paying back ROI, if they're not up in the books, like it's hard to change the direction of a big machine like that. I mean, I think the honest answer is what a lot of people feel, but I don't think they realize they feel, which is just we have to focus as a people on anti-corporatism. We have to focus on sourcing out products from smaller companies, from communities that we want to show our support to, which I think is the spirit of a lot of the things that we do in the weed industry and a lot of the things we have, but feeling away and follow throughing on some shit is totally different. I want to be all swole up, yoked out right now, but I also don't want to go to the gym. So until we can make those changes collectively, I mean, we're leaning towards a bunch of bad cliffs.
We're standing still. Listen, hold on just a sec, Jason. We're killing it with these conversations, folks. I'm telling you, I told you I got some great acts. I got some great guests. I got some great people of like minds on our show, and we're showing you really what the cannabis community can build into and who's representing it. And so we're going to take a quick break, Jason. We're going to come back with you, and folks, pay attention. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Folks, we are back. Listen, oh my gosh, that was such a first half right there. So interesting. Let me tell you, Jason is knowledgeable. I love the perspective on all the different variations of the industry, products, just in general, our community. Using that word community, that means a lot. And as we have you guys here, that's what we're pushing here. Have you ever wondered? I did. I've wondered about what live resin is, right? What's the difference? How do you know what you're looking at? How do you know if it's actually live resin? We're going to have this answer from one of the innovators. Listen, I thought that I knew until he explained this. I really feel even more knowledgeable. Check this stuff out, guys. Hey, folks, man, listen, I've got Jason here with Giddy Up, and I'm telling you, this conversation is going to be bananas. Stay tuned. You're going to want to see this.
My name is Jason Giddy Up Emo. Everybody calls me Giddy. I've been in the...
And we're back, guys. Listen, we have got to pick this conversation back up because, like you, I didn't want to go to break. This man is interesting. This insights and stuff, I'm super happy to have him back on. Jason, welcome back, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Glad to be back.
Definitely. Listen, all right. So, I mean, that first half was amazing, bro. That was just so insightful in thinking about more than just yourself, right? And that's why we have guests like you on our show, because it is more than just ourselves. We're doing some generational changing, and it starts by what we like and our foot into the industry. And this is a big ship we're trying to push. And so I commend you and thank you for your leadership in our industry and setting the tone and being super fucking humble, because like you said, you start something, it doesn't mean that you're finishing it. It's awesome to watch others take heed and expand it to even more of what your thoughts are, our thoughts. And so I just commend you on that, brother. I wanted to let you know that. For sure.
Thank you very much. Very kind words.
For sure. It's only the truth, brother. Only the truth. Tell me about this, man. You're here in the big state of OK, and I've seen your brand around. I'm excited to learn more about it, but the people that may not know about it, like, tell me about what you got going on right now here in the state. Can you go into that a little bit? Tell us what you working on here.
Yeah, so here in Oklahoma, we've really focused on providing what I consider to be the highest level quality cannabis that can be put out. We have a very exceptional team. We have very strong genetics. We're one of the few companies that doesn't cut corners when it comes to growing. We use, new millennium nutrients, name brand, high end. Our cure, our trim, no PGRs. Like it's the best representation of cannabis I think one can provide. And I say that with, decade and a half of being all over the world, seeing cannabis grows, being neck deep in legal and illegal facilities, seeing genetics, knowing breeders, being not only a competitor in the highest levels of the competitions, High Times Cannabis Cups, Spanibus, Davadu, and not only having more than my handful of awards, right? But the people that I've trained and taught and that worked underneath me in this have won hundreds of them. Like I've taken all that information, what I consider the best, and that's what I became a student of.
Okay.
And that's what my team here really focusing on is letting that come out in the shape of a plan.
Yeah.
So we As it is now, we sell out before our weed typically finishes. There are enough people that know our level of quality and know, how we get down, that they're ready as soon as the test results arrive. So it's kind of difficult for us to take on new customers and new patients in the state. But
It's pretty badass little problem, I would say, right? Some think that business is just having your name on the door and being able to market. You get a couple of customers and you're happy, right? Like to say a sustainable business, that model is what you're wanting in cannabis. In general, you want to have where your customer is already wanting your product before your product is fully ready to go, and it's already pre-bought. It's pre-bought, like it's already spoken for.
Yeah, there's a group of people that show up when testing comes in. They all want to be the first to pick up. They all want to get it and they want to go. We don't typically have cannabis more than 48 hours after testing has came in. So
golly, how much?
But that's because
that's huge.
We don't do what everybody else does.
Truth.
Everybody can't say that happens because not everybody does what we do. And we see that. And even more so in this market where the price of weed is low as I've ever seen it anywhere. It's harder to do what we do. Our price per pound on what we grow is higher than almost everybody else's because of how we do it. The time and you add in the time that we take for proper cures,
and trim.
If my weed don't come out the best, I'd rather have it processed.
Ah, got you.
Than let it go out.
Actually let it go out.
Right. And we do that because nobody's perfect, and we are doing pheno hunts and we're looking for weed. If the pheno don't hit my standards, it don't make it out.
How do you determine what phenos you're going to run? Like what is the standard? Like you have your own measurement of standing, but out of all of those, go ahead.
There's a spectrum of what I look for, right? In making what I consider a full menu.
I like that. Making a full menu. You're not just out trying to just produce a couple of things. You have a menu that you're wanting to have for patients or customers.
Yeah, I ain't trying to talk shit, but like you can only be so experienced at this shit here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not knocking anybody, but if this is your 4th year of business, like there's nuances to this that you still don't get. And I see that happen a lot. One of those things is a well-balanced menu. Far too often people's strains get too heavy in one terp profile, and you've got 5 of these motherfuckers and 3 other ones, and they don't want to buy 5 of those. They want to buy 1 of those. But if you had 4 other ones that were their own characteristics, if you're going cushy, if you're going hazy, right? If you want citrus terps, you don't grow 5 tangies, 5 different tangy cuts and try and sell 5 because they don't want that. Right. So you go through, you find some gas with me. I gotta have gas. I gotta have something citrusy. I usually want something hazy, gotta have a sativa in there. But I'm also at the same point where I'm like, we rotate 6 to 8 strains.
Okay.
Like that's the max
built out.
amount.
Yeah.
And rotate those through. So right at the point, which I look at it quarterly, right? Like if you take everything that you got in the first quarter and drop half of that away, but your best sellers, most asked for ones, and replace them with other ones, then you can bump sales back up because you're giving them new. But after the quarter, when those are done, 9 times out of 10, the customers had enough time to go, hey, I want that one shit you had a couple months ago. People have been asking for it. And you keep it in demand. And you rotate it through. And that keeps people from getting bored with your menu. And if your menu is as diverse as, as I like mine to be, you have the opportunity to replace your haze strain with a new type of haze.
Yeah. And keeping in that same
family. And you're keeping that same customer happy because they were buying it, because whether they knew it or not, because it was that haze strain, right? That's what they wanted. That's what people were buying. And if you keep that terp profile there, and maybe you can increase the effect, or you get a plant that's the same terp profile, close enough, maybe a little better, but it yields more. Like you can make these determinations as you go through and keep the menu popular.
So let me ask you this, speaking on that, because that's an interesting topic on having the different menus, right? As a grower and your personal, if you don't like it, you will, if it doesn't meet the standard, let me say that, you will rather press it, right? How do you determine now, well, obviously the 10 years plus has allowed you to manifest what you do like for pressing and then what you like to produce for just flowers. Is that standard set for you now, or do you see some new things that are coming out that may press better based off testings or yield, or
Oh yeah,
what you're thinking? What's
oh
going
no,
on?
no, totally. And I know a bunch of breeders that are just straight gangsters that have been doing it forever, that are far more. And that's where I live, right? So that's when I'm hanging out playing video games, I'm in the Discord with other breeders. And when I'm aware of their projects, we're talking about them, we're
Yeah,
collecting data, we're having these conversations. And a lot of that conversation nowadays is like breeding to make something that's a washer for rosin, right? People looking at the returns. Like I went to this little hash event, hollered at everybody, walked around, shook hands, and all these rosin guys, like every one of them had triple burger in their
Yep,
fucking stash, right? Like the
yep,
triple burger was showing
yep.
up everywhere.
I've been seeing
And
that.
like and the homie told me, he's like, yeah, dude, we hit 6.1% returns off of that triple burger. And like people are breeding and trying to search out those genetics, and a lot of that has to do with trichome heads,
Yeah,
trichome production. Even when we were doing hydrocarbon extractions, like you can really tell that like a lot of citrus flavors, a lot of citrus terps, they're not typically very high potency THC plants. So
right.
when we do extractions on those, our yield is reduced because it's not
Already
there to
reduced.
extract,
Yeah,
right? So like one of the things I think that's given me a real edge for that is like I'm the litmus test of if your shit's got fire or not. Because when I take it into the lab and take all of the oil out of it, that'll tell me the story of your weed.
yeah.
If I don't get a lot, your shit wasn't good. If I get more than I thought, you did a really good job. If you blow my mind, like you better pay attention to what you did because
Yeah.
like you're going to want to repeat that. So and seeing that strain to strain, breeder to breeder, state to state, country to country, you really start to paint like a different image in your head of what strains are good and what people
Yeah,
just think are good, or
yeah.
what some people happen to have a preference for, as compared to the hard raw data of like
That's
how
really
many
producing.
cannabinoids are in that fucking plant, right?
Truth.
Because I don't
Truth.
even testing labs are whack, right? Like so whack. So what? I get
You don't even
33,
want to talk
37.
about that, right? Like
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. Like,
it's I think that's one of the most, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying for it becoming like federal, right? Until like the FDA and they set a set standard like they do for other things, other products, then there's not an accurate testing for it because I don't care what this place said with the terpenes. I don't care what this place said with this THC limit. Like that, it's not validated. But at the same time, it's a guide that allows a person to kind of get an idea of certain things, right? Because I mean, the machines could not be sold and not be calibrated to do certain measures that a person can't just watch and do. Press a button, right?
there's a lot that goes into testing that can be manipulated on
Okay.
the way in, and that can get you results. And it's testing labs being corrupt.
No,
You can put that up there with death and taxes because the model itself only leaves. How do I put this? You grow weed. Let's say you grow weed. And I am 3 different testing companies, and you bring your weed to all 3 of us. And at the first company, we got into this business because we like pot. We're science nerds. We know how to do testing. We can run the equipment, like dream job, want to collect data, integrity.
right.
And they tell you your weed's 14% THC. And then the second company gets into this because like we know the field, right? And we think we can do it accurately and we're going to make a lot of money.
Another revenue stream.
another revenue stream, and we're gonna make a lot of money. And he tests your shit at 17. The third guy was a fucking mortgage broker that was responsible for the fucking real estate collapse, but had access to big money, raised a fucking investment fund and said, we're going to test the weed. We don't even have to sell the weed. We don't even have to really fuck with weed, but we can charge $300 a testing, and we're going to fucking make a mint. The state's just now going to be the first to market. Let's do it. Let's do it. And that motherfucker says your shit's 26%. Because he knows that you want high test results to make your weed easier to sell, right?
And there's no regulation, so just
There's
come
no
back.
regulation. You're selling your weed. Who are you taking your weed to next harvest?
The person that says the most gives me the most.
You know what I mean?
It's
so
business.
like
That just makes sense.
that's business. You would be like, if you have any partners, if there's any body at your company that can have a conversation with you, they'll rationalize that to you at some point of like, hey, I'm sitting on a bunch of this really fire weed back here that tested at 12%. Nobody wants to buy it because of the testing.
No, and I don't have the money to go get more testing.
The same weed from the other lab tested at 26.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, I guess we use that lab from now on, right? Now we're up into the 30s because the first company we went back to, right, that just wanted to do weed, now he hates his fucking job, right? Because everybody treats him like shit because he tells them their weeds is sucks, which it probably does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
9 out of 10. And he sold the company. Guy number 2 that really didn't give a shit but didn't invest all this money to lose it is now shooting test results back at 26% like his competitor. And his competitor that was doing this all the time and saw him doing it is like, watch when I start hitting them with these 33s.
Yep.
They'll never go anywhere else.
Facts. Truth.
Who wins in that? The most fucking disingenuous fucking people are the ones that reap the rewards the quickest in that situation.
Yeah. Man.
And I'll be damned if that isn't what I see almost everywhere I go.
That's too, bro. That's so lit right there. First off, way to slay it, way to kick that shit. Let me ask you this before we get out of here, because I can't wait to meet you and come down and do the tour of the facility, get some of this good fire that you're putting down there.
Sure.
Let me ask you, what's your companies? How many companies and what's your brands? And then after those, tell me what other brands you respect in the state that you see are doing it to your standard. Are there many? I mean, we have a plethora. Who would you say that's doing it that way? First, start with yours though. What brands are all under your belt?
Here in Oklahoma, we're Giddy's Farms. That's our grow, the Giddy's brand. In Missouri, we are Hippos is the dispensary. Bad Pony is the extract company that we run. And OG Yields is the grow. And in Jersey, our business that we're opening up there, our grow and production facility is Blisco. So that's all me, and that's all I'm working. Also, Emotech, always going. In Oklahoma, companies that I see that are doing it right, like on the retail side, I see like Dab and Go. Dab and Go puts a lot.
Had him on, yeah.
Puts a lot of good quality out. Like he's one of the ones I'd stop by. I know there's a handful of others that are my homies that do good that I can't think to name right now. I'm smoking a joint. On the production side, like rosin wise, I see some good shit coming out of like Burley, like we talked about. That's good shit. Skunk, always a favorite of mine in the state. Like I think honestly, like they're the guys to beat right now as far as rosin production.
They're now fire right now. Skunk is everywhere and they're really taking hold. Yes,
I think consistently doing it. Like been doing it. So like I think Skunk is the guy to beat in the state if you're a rosin guy. As far as hydrocarbon, I have to say that the homie Jay Wood.
Okay.
I believe it's Camelot Extracts is what he's got going on. I think Jay Wood is probably a good distance out in front as being the best extractor in the state of Oklahoma, operating and making product right now for sure.
All right.
Jay
Wood.
Have you met Jay Wood?
I haven't yet, but you know the names, and when you get behind the scenes like that off menu, you start to see things and hear things. So I know of a good amount of people. I have yet to meet them, but it's nice to know who's doing what. So when I put the face with the name, you know,
Yeah. Well, there's some cats in Oklahoma that like, trust me, from like I said, internationally traveled, fucking like I tourist to places to smoke local weed, right? Like
yeah.
everywhere I can go, like it's always what I'm doing. I get unfettered behind the scenes access because I'm really that fucking dude and like I can get in there. There are some people like the people that I named in Oklahoma that operate at a top tier level. I don't care where you're at, right? They make product that is the top 3%, 1% in the fucking game.
Gotcha.
And they exist here in Oklahoma, but you just got to sift through a bunch more bullshit to find them.
Well, and that's, I think, one of the other caveats for Oklahoma having it so mass is that until you understand the processes that it takes to make the quality, then you can go back and refine. And now you're not the consumer just out here on the brand name. You're actually going in to the methods and things. Do this for me because you are, before we end real quick, because you're the pioneer of this, right? Can you do a brief description for our people out there on what live resin is and how to best see that? Because you said it, it's very popular right now in the state of Oklahoma. It's going everywhere. Everybody's saying they got live resin, live rosin.
Yeah.
What is the difference that a person who has no idea needs to look for so they can determine the quality that they're getting?
Well, the natural hint and hue of unfiltered live resin, when it's made out of top quality product, it doesn't need to be filtered or done what they call CRC, chromatation, color remediation chromatography. It's where they filter out a bunch of the stuff that kind of takes the natural bouquet of it away.
Okay.
High-end live resin is made from a product that was harvested slightly before the ripening phase or right at the beginning of the ripening phase of the weed.
Okay.
It was slightly dehydrated and immediately placed to freezing. And I don't mean with like a dehydrator. I'm just saying like we hang it for like an hour, let the bulk of the moisture come off of it, right? Because if you've ever harvested and you go back to your plants an hour after you chopped them down, there's a significant less amount of water in those plants. They've transpired, they've gone. But at the same time, still leaving the volatile terpenes we're looking for. Then it's going frozen at a very deep temperature, and that is used to suspend the water in the plant. That's what makes the freezing of it so important and this process so keen, is we suspend the water in the plant, and then we use a non-polar solvent, butane, okay, super filtered, nothing else in it, right? Like just butane, non-polar solvent. Doesn't bind with what we're taking out, so it's extremely easy to remove from the oils. So we remember, like live resin, we're going like super volatile oils. The point is so that it smells like your grow and not like the sack you get from the dispensary. Right. We're talking about weed that's never had the chance to be degraded,
fresh,
extracted at the beginning of optimal, right? Never a chance to degrade. Like the freshest tuna, like don't fight the tuna too long, right? Like burn the meat up, like
because it's
same deal.
Okay. Makes sense.
It doesn't get 2 days of being dead before you make it, right? It's live resin. So we go through, we freeze all the moisture, we do our run with our solvent, we pull all those oils out while keeping the water in the plant and not in the extract. If you get bad live resin, it may look like good live resin, maybe a little darker. What it's typically going to have is a little bit of moisture in there. Well, if you take moisture out of that plant, you get that green plant taste. You've ever done live resin, planty, that's because they ran it too long. They got greedy. They melt some of the ice into the water, into the extract.
Okay.
So good, true, finished, proper live resin can be shattered. It can be batter. It can be diamonds in sauce. It can be sugar. It can be any of those finishes, as long as all those steps we just talked about are done properly. If you pull a bunch of water into it, that wasn't live resin, right? Like there's a big confusion. Everybody thinks that just because they run it fresh frozen It's
Yes.
live resin. And it's
That's
not
the difference right now. A
yeah,
lot of
and
people are
that's
saying that.
sure. And that's not a hill that me as a creator I'm willing to die on, right?
Got
Like
you.
if you want to call it that instead of fresh frozen, sure, okay. Then it's bad live resin. And let's just say that then. Because if it's good live resin, it doesn't taste like a wet plant. It's a very light color. It's in whatever consistency you want to finish it in, but has a very strong terp content and a very volatile, like a good amount of volatile terp content. So it's runny. The terps are runny, and if
Okay.
you're sugaring it up, it's nice and clear, cloudy. Like that's good live resin. You can
Okay.
make live resin, but that's the things you're looking for in what I see as live resin.
Well, listen, man, I can't wait to come and see you down at your facility. I look forward to getting a tour. I kind of just threw that out there on you rather than
Yeah, come on
but
down.
I already know, like, I mean, you're a top tier, you're a pioneer. I am so excited following up with you, Jason. Hey, listen, we appreciate you coming on today. We appreciate you spending the time to educate us and educate our people out here. Guys, you heard it first right here. Jason, giddy up. If you don't know the brand, look them up. We're going to put all of their contact in the down below so that way you'll be able to follow. Pay attention to us. We're going to follow up with him in the next couple of months. Go get this tour down there. And I mean, it's only up for here. It's only up for here. So, Jason, I appreciate you. Man, folks, we are back. Oh my gosh. That conversation was so interesting. That's why we do this show. We love to keep getting that information about the moving of this industry, about the shakers in this industry. And not only that, the producers of some of this fine medicine and leaders for us, guys. If you want to know how things are done, you go to the sources. And that's what we bring to you guys are those people that are familiar, that are name-driven, that have been in here for quite some time. Dr. Sims is one of them. Like, Dr. Sims, thank you so much for always being here with us. We appreciate it. Men's Health Month, definitely, guys. Every week I'm going to be saying something about it. As you know, that's what we do. That's a wrap for this show. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, same place, Wednesday night, 7 p.m., Medical Cannabis Marketplace. Like, share, follow, tell others. Put some stuff in the comments down below if you want to hear something, see something, meet some people. Let us know. We appreciate you guys. We can't wait to see you next week. Check it out.
Don't move. Clear. Yeah.